Hello everyone, welcome. We are now going to look at the particle engine. I still want to say oscillator. Particle engine of the oscillator, yes. It's a sample player, can stack samples, you can set key groups, and you can define which velocity they react to, and all that good stuff that you would expect from a half-decent sampler. And yeah, this can do it all, and also has granular synthesis. So just a disclaimer right from the start. I don't know much about granular, and I don't know how to get good sounds out of granular. So I tried a couple of samples with granular, and they always turned into something I wasn't really fond of, so might have to do some digging, like what kind of sounds make a good bass for the granular synthesis in general. At least now know how to configure it, and yeah, this is the empty state that you get. Its mode is normal, and the other mode that you have is granular. We don't go there yet. So you can just go to Action, Add, and select any wave that you have, or on an SD card or somewhere else. You can even live sample. Let's make a quick detour here. When you go into the global menu, there's this audio tab, and then you can set here the record source, and then you can just put it to input, plug in a cable, put it in your phone or whatever playback device that you have, and hit record. And then you can save it and use it here in the selection screen. Let's take, I don't know, cloud. Sounds interesting. So, I don't know, let's add cloud. So yeah, it's a 9, almost 10-second sample. And as long as you hold down the note, it's played. And of course, when you change pitch, it will follow. And I haven't found any warp modes or that kind of stuff that you might know from Ableton or something. So it's really just as good as it gets in a certain range. What can you set per sample? It's kind of hard to see here. That's the contrast problem that I was talking about earlier. So let me add another one. You can see what is written here in the columns. So you got file, key, velocity, pitch, and gain, and you can set this up for each sample individually. You can select which sample you want to edit here at the top. The number grows, of course. You can, I don't know if there's any limit. So far, I haven't found one. So you can set the key from 0 to 127 and velocity from 0 to 127. That is the from node, to node, that makes up the key. And you've got from, velo, and to velo, that's the velocity. So you can set to which velocity or which keys this particular sample should respond to. Then you can, of course, alter the pitch of each sample according to what you think it is. And you can see here at the back, there seems to be some kind of file naming scheme that then auto-detects the correct settings. So you can see the wave file is called 036 at the end, and it changed the setting here to 36. So, and here's pitch 48. Maybe a thing to keep in mind when you start plugging in your own samples. Then at the bottom, we got this rule and stereo width and overall gain. Most interesting is the rule parameter when you are in this screen, because it determines how the samples are selected when you strike a key. So let's go to ping pong, and now when I press the key, you can see it goes back and forth between them. And now to make this a bit more interesting, let's clear this entire map. And we can also add entire folders. Let's take some belts. So I'm just going to add the entire folder. I'm not selecting a single thing here, just a folder. And then it loaded all the samples. It's, well, it's just 7. But now you can see how it goes back and forth here at the selected sample. And then we got round robin, which is the default. Just starting over when it reaches the end. Also then reverse, and then of course a random. And then you can program a melody. So here I just got a simple techno arpeggio. And let the random do its thing with a folder of random samples that I never heard before, and sounds okay. Can start applying some filtering maybe. And a beat. The reverb that you're hearing is within the samples. We can add some reverb ourselves. Now I'm gonna tap on particle and it's asked me to switch the mode. And the mode it speaks of is here at the bottom where it currently says normal. You can also activate granular here, and there's also a mode called live granular. Live granular works with input from external devices. That's another interesting thing to explore, but I will do that later because it's a completely different chapter. And as I said, I'm not super good with granular at the moment, and I wouldn't know what to do with all that power just yet. So let's go to just normal granular, or just tap here at the top at particle. It gives you a warning. Want to switch the mode? Yes. And now we're here. These are grains at the moment. The grain polyphony is currently 1, so it's just one row of grains that are then sampling position somewhere in the sample that you have loaded. So let's load one. I don't know, maybe here's the drones and pads, or metal drone, Murky Pad. Murky Pad sounds interesting. Come on. Add. So here we are. So in particle, we can now use these knobs here. And as you have noticed in the previous demonstration, I haven't used them at all because they're just simply not doing anything. They are meant for granular. Obviously, you can use the shared semitones and fine pitch that is working with all oscillators. But these set of 5 knobs here are only meant for a specific mode and what the writing says below them, and things like replications here, or grain poly, is of course not available in just standard sample playback. Then we got here pitch spread, traveling, just like on wavetables, and length of the sample. And the gate length, which kind of like is, you could call it density. You can see it creates a gap in between, and then when you slow it, yeah, you can get really fine grained here. But yeah, just let's look at the normal length here, and by default it has some jitter, and it starts somewhere at 10% of the sample, and there's no travel, no jitter, and the gate length is 100%. And then you can actually set the attack and the decay for each grain. So it's kind of like a diamond shape in the default settings. And let me see if I can recreate that, because I added it before. So now you have the diamond, and yeah, I think it was 25. That's the default. So yeah. So this is how a standard grain looks. And you can hear what it says. It's basically like an envelope, if you will. And then you have density here, and there's a gap between the positions that it's assembling. Then you got grain jitter, which randomizes the gate length. Then you got position offset, or it's like the big knob here, where you want to sample inside this, like where you want to start the grain sampling, I mean. Okay, but this is just one row. So let's increase the count. You can see the more I add, the more rows are being added, and they have two colors. And that is because it also makes the stereo field. So when you just have one, and you now add a second one, you will hear the stereo. And it's kind of panning motion between those two, because they're offset by 50%, and the next one will be as well, but in relation to the previous one, so it's like a 75. And so on. It's always divided by 2 until we get this arrow shape that you can see here. Now we can decrease the length of the sampling. You can hear how dense it now sounds. So as I said, they have two colors, orange and green, so for left and right. And there's the stereo width control here at the bottom. So this is a full split. It turns red at the top and green at the bottom. And you can also go full mono. Then there's traveling. That means the position that we just here selected, a starting point, would just move by itself. So it was 2 notes, now I'm holding down 3 notes. Okay, that's I like that. So maybe I'm learning granular synthesis after all. I mean, I tried this a couple of times by now. I just removed the resonant here that was still kicking in. Not that it matters in terms of how you program, but I just wanted to get the actual sound right now. Let's travel it faster. Okay, so the menu says that with now using attack and decay, as I've showed you earlier, you can change the overall sound very drastically. So let's try that out. How much of an effect that now has as we got familiar with the spectrum. So it can get clicky, just like an envelope. There's a separate tab for pitch. Okay, this is cluster, and now we can hear definite difference. Random. I'm just holding down one note. Very interesting texture there. And now let's go to mapped. Then it should use the intervals that I set here. Kind of like a melody now. And then there's mapped random. Okay, that was grain pitch. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this interesting, and yeah, I'm gonna check out Resonator next. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't and want to hear more, because I'm gonna cover more about Iridium. And also, if you want me to cover something specific about the features of this device, like resampling or something like that, or effects, then just let me know, and I will see if I can put it on schedule for the